In the last 4 years, Ireland has lost more jobs than any other Western country per capita since the Great Depression. And that is a phenomenal indictment of your government's policies and the policies of the last government. 87,000 people emigrated from this part of the state last year. That's more people than actually sat the Leaving Cert last year. And emigration and unemployment are the burning issues in Irish society today. Now, the Action Plan for Jobs was launched last February, and in the 12 months after the government came into power. And at that time, the Taoiseach said he would create 100,000 additional jobs. Well, in that period alone, 33,000 jobs have been lost net. So the government is already at minus 133,000, given its own promises. And, you know, the government in that period of time has seen long-term unemployment increase from 50% to 60%. And the jobs-free action plan is the micromanagement of the departments rather than what's needed, the macroeconomic investment in this state. Now, we need significant investment if we're going to tackle the major burning issue of our generation. €1 billion was given to unguaranteed, unsecured bondholders yesterday by this government. Would that money not have been better spent on Irish people seeking jobs? And what real changes are the government going to make to resolve what has been now an epic failure by this government with regards to job creation?
For the record, Deputy, was AIB paid the bond yesterday?
Yeah, but the AIB was actually backed by money that went into the Irish state.
Minister.
Thanks very much for the supplementary. First, I'd make it clear, we are undertaking a massive transformation, and you've pointed that out yourself. I mean, construction collapsed. 60% of employment was wiped out in construction. That was 160,000, mainly male employees, became unemployed. There is a huge job to create a new economy that will absorb people from the sectors that, as we know, are in decline. They grew too big. The policy that supported them wasn't sustainable. We know that about banking and construction and so on. So we have to create the new economy that builds the opportunities. That's what we're doing. Like IDA last year had the best year in a decade. It created the most new jobs in a decade. It had the lowest level of job losses for a very long period. International investment in Ireland has returned, and we're seeing a jobs dividend from that. As I pointed out in the reply also, we have reversed the dramatic collapse that was occurring in indigenous exporter-oriented companies. That has been reversed, and EI companies are now growing employment. So we have seen a huge turnaround, but I don't underestimate the scale of the challenge. This is a huge challenge, and we are working on that determinedly. And what we have done, but I think the merit of the Action Plan for Jobs is every year and every department focuses on what changes can be made this year to make a practical contribution to the target. That's the approach we need to take, and that's the one we're implementing.
Very quickly.
Very briefly. Yesterday, Spicer's Bakery closed its doors in Navan. It's been in operation since 1834, survived the famine, the Black and Tan War, and 2 world wars, and every recession in between. And it obviously hasn't survived the policy of this government. 70 jobs have been lost in it over the last 2 years. And it seems to me that this whole sector, Spicer's Bakery, is symbolic of domestic enterprise in Ireland. That this whole sector has been ignored and is suffering from government policies. And 6 net jobs were created by Enterprise Ireland last year. Now, I would like to ask the Minister, what did the Minister do to stop Spicer's Bakery closing down? If it was a foreign business operating here, you would have a task force, you would have a number of agencies already down there seeking to retrain those workers. But this is an example of 1,400 other businesses that close down on a monthly basis in this state.